John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we are on March the 5th in the year of our Lord 2026. Got a lot of good stuff for you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and click Murtech on Rumble. Jump over here to my Rumble page. Daily news update. It's the video that we're reviewing tonight, episode 1849. It says upcoming, but as you know, you are actually watching it. So let's click into that. Let me close out the live chat, slide down here, and click the show more to expand out the description box. And we have information from Dan Bongino, Dr. Steve Turley, Rubin Report, and Wendy Bell Radio. But before we get into that, I do have some shout outs to give. Linda Swan just started following my channel. Todd 1956 just started following my channel. C Murphs 1 just started following my channel. WWJ DNA NCYBK. Not sure what that spells. Just started following my channel. Hey Imagine Jude just started following my channel. Junior Black 56 just started following my channel. Mazzy Miles just started following my channel. Hell Fan T43 just started following my channel. Ronald 2643 just started following my channel. And Hokey Rob just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're tuned in, and I hope you enjoy the content, okay? All right. WBS reposted my episode 1848. Jeanette J66 commented on my daily news wrap-up from last night. World's a Stage 777 commented on my episode 1848. WBS commented on my extra 630B and 630C. Cotton Ball 31 and WBS commented on my extra 631A. And WBS commented on my extra 631B. So thank you very much for your comments, folks, for reposting my video. I greatly appreciate your feedback and your support, and I enjoy reading your comments. So thank you so much. Let me go ahead and give this a thumbs up. Alrighty. And folks, if you could give me a thumbs up here on my video, it's right here below the video that you're watching. Just slide down and click that or poke it or whatever. Okay, let's get into this. Dan Bongino, The Future of Warfare is on display, episode 2466. Okay, let's see what he has to say about that.
Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for the Dan Bongino Show.
So I was watching the chat this morning before the show, like I typically do. You know, about a half hour before the show, sometimes an hour, I drop in there. Like to see what the Bongino Army's talking about out there. And I saw shout out C Patrick 1010. He said, listen, I do my 100 air squats, I do 10 squats, 10 air squats 10 times a day. I think it's the greatest thing ever. I think it's better than the 10,000 steps. He's like, man, I did it. It works. It clears your head. I told you. As long as you're not bad knees or bad hips. I got a bad knee. I still try to get them in. But man, that 100 air squats, and you just do it before, it looks weird, air squats, whatever, who cares? It's a game changer. Clears your head. I got the whole team doing it now. It's good for you, good for the business, good for everyone. Keeps everybody healthy, happy, blood flowing, heart pumping, brain clear, arteries, veins looking good. And you get big leg muscles too. Can't beat that. Man, I got a loaded show for you today. 3 critical things in the beginning. 3 critical things. First, listen, I've already told you that a large swath of the media, not all, and a large swath of the Democrat Party, again, not all, ladies and gentlemen, really hate this place, would rather see you die, and some of them appear to be cheering on, not appear to be, are almost overtly cheering on the Iranian mullahs and are itching for them to declare victory. I'm not kidding. It's even the relatively mainstream center-right Wall Street Journal has noticed this. That it's like we're 5 days in, you see media people like cheering for the mullahs. Just survive, mullahs. That way you can declare victory against Trump. There it is. I'll address it in a second. Second, folks, even some members of the old school establishment GOP, it's kind of weird that it took foreign hostilities for them to come around. Even some wings, and there's tons of them. You go on X, you'll see them. The old establishment GOP types. And I'm not saying it's disparagingly, but like the National Review types and those types are starting to come around that, you know what, maybe we just judge Trump too harshly on appearances and not results. Guy, you've been here the longest. How long have I been saying judge the results? As far as yes. Even the old schoolers are like, maybe we should start judging results instead of outward appearances and that kind of stuff. Thank you. Third, ladies and gentlemen, as I titled today's show, the future of warfare is here. Good for us because we're a tech leader around the world, but the enemies are watching. Our enemies are watching too. And the future of warfare is the now of warfare. Things we thought we would only see in Terminator movies are here right now. We're going to go into that a little bit, and we're going to talk in detail about what exactly that means. A big show for you today. Don't go anywhere. Again, give us a follow, rumble.com/Bongino. Download the Rumble app. We really appreciate everything. Spread the word. The show goes live today, as you can see, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Losing weight is an amp in your party that just lost round number one or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. All right, fellas, let's go. So, as I told you, 3 critical things right from the jump. Get right to it. No screwing around. Number one, why do liberal media people and Democrats have to show their ass all the time? I promise you, outside of the Jasmine Crockett wing in your party that just lost in Texas, ironically, to an even more liberal lunatic, this Tallarico guy who just pretends better. However, outside of appealing to them, nobody in America of sound mind, body, using logic and reason wants to see America lose to the Iranian mullah class. I read this in the Wall Street Journal last night. I was like, man, they nailed it with this one. Again, we're not even a week into this thing, and you've got liberal media folks, and not all the Democrats, really. I don't vote Democrat ever. I've been fairly honest about that. I'm not going to bullshit you. However, I do speak the truth, and I try to be objective about it. Fetterman's been okay on it. Not great, but okay on the issue. The Democrat senator from Pennsylvania. So it's not all the Democrats. However, a overwhelming supermajority of Democrats and their liberal media ass kissers appear to be wanting the United States to win. Journal has a great piece about this. We kind of teased it a little bit here. How the war pessimists are already at it. He says, the editorial board writes, rarely have so many seemed so eager to predict American defeat. Folks, they write in that there's a really touching story in the piece. I probably should have put it up, but I didn't want to dig too far into the details. But think about it. I have a grandfather who fought in the Battle of the Bulge. World War II has since passed. I have an uncle, Greg Ambrose, who was killed in Vietnam. I've told the story often. Was given a Bronze Star with a V cluster he was shot in the back while he was saving his friend's life. You can read the story on this website, the Vietnam Wall website yourself. We've been through a lot, the United States of America. World War II, we had thousands of casualties on specific battle days and battle weeks that the American people, you want to talk about a really tough, tragic pill to have to swallow. And yet, now you've got the American media, the liberal media, every single time something doesn't go absolutely perfectly, trying to score cheap political bullshit points on the president by almost, wishing along an Iranian mullah victory. I saw it this morning. Here's the Democrats' line. Watch. Remember this, guys. We're, 9 minutes into the show? Remember this now. Record this on your screen cap it. No matter who survives in the Iranian mullah leadership, even if they decapitate, destroy leadership levels 1 through 10, and you're down to, I mean this hyperbolically, but you get the point, to put an accent on it. If they're down to the janitor in whatever mullah school they use to learn how to hate America and chant death to America, whatever school they go to, they're down to the janitor, the guy who cleans the bathrooms. I promise you, liberal Democrats and their media allies will declare victory. For us? No, not for us. For the freaking Iranian mullahs. Flag it. Thank you, guys. I haven't done that. Flag it. Flags in the chat. That's the iPad. You see that? Look. Oh, sticker on the back. That was Paula. Very nice. Flag it now. I see it. Flags rocking in the chat. It doesn't matter. If Mullah Joey Bag of Donuts survives, who is the second cousin 4 times removed from the uncle whose brother Tony had a dog that once gave birth to another dog that lived in the home of the mother-in-law of the cousin of the second mullah, they'll be like, they won! They won! Are you guys flagging this shit? Flag this. I'm telling you, mark it right now. We can wipe out their Navy, their Air Force, their air defenses, drone supplies, ballistic missiles, nuclear weapons capability. What's that? Flag? We haven't used that in a while. Hit myself with that. Thank you. Incoming flag. It doesn't matter. I promise you, the Democrats and the liberal media will declare victory for Joey Bag of Donuts, the mullah 47 times removed from the second cousin of the third mullah 17 years ago. They will. Flags everywhere in the chat. Chat is rocking already. We're only 10 minutes into the show. It's already getting hot in here. The air conditioner broke outside. Guy's like, you can't open the doors. You can't close the doors. Keep the AC, and it reverbs too much. Okay, so number one, back on target. No matter what happens, the liberal Democrats, I promise you, will declare victory for the Iranian Holocaust because they want to see a propaganda victory for the enemies of the United States. All flagged, good to go. Point number two, again, I said it before. I'll make it kind of quick, but really important at the beginning of the show. 3 critical takeaways. Boom, right at the shoot here. Establishment GOP folks. I don't want to, I really hate Republican on Republican political party violence. I've said that a million times because the real enemy is the Democrats. However, sometimes it's necessary. Establishment GOP folks from the past, no ill will. I mean, I don't really consider myself one, but I don't consider them. I mean, I cite the Wall Street Journal all the time. There's no bigger establishment outlet than them. Are now starting to come around that the Dan Bongino transactional Trump theory is how you should evaluate Trump. I'm not telling you words are irrelevant, true social posts are irrelevant. I'm not telling you any of that. But I'm telling you, if you're going to evaluate an entire body of work about the Trump presidency, how you should triage that and what should you go into the final grade. The final grade on the final exam should be like 50% of it. And Donald Trump's final grade, i.e. the results you produce for a semester of work, should be about 50% of your calculus about how successful or unsuccessful you think his presidency was. Even establishment GOP folks are starting to come around. I saw one of them this morning on Twitter. Like, hey, man, maybe I went sideways on this guy and should have kind of judged him on results instead. Okay, I've been saying that the entire time. I come from New York. I grew up in New York and Queens. Donald Trump is a Queens guy. Everyone from Queens, New York is like that. They're not the Brooklyn kids who always have like this tough aura around them. Oh, they come from Brooklyn. Don't fight that guy. It's like Brooklyn imbues you with like Avengers, like superpowers. The Manhattan kids all were rich. You're like, wow, man, I want to hang out with that guy. He's a rich guy who lives in Manhattan. Even if you lived in like the worst part of it, everybody assumed you had money. The Queens kids got the worst of both worlds. Nobody thought you were tough because you weren't from Brooklyn. And even though Queens was a middle-class suburb, nobody thought you had any money because you were from Queens and not Manhattan. So everybody from Queens has an attitude. That's Trump. That's why none of that bothers me at all. But Queens kids get shit done. There's a lot of very famous Queens people, you know, in the media, politics, and the business world. Trump being the most famous. So number one, liberal media Dems are already cheering on a mullah victory. Joey Bag of Donuts, 17th mullah, 42 times removed. Guaranteed. It's already been flagged. Number two, establishment folks coming around. It's good to see. welcome. I'm not mad at them. I'm about scoring points, not taking them away. No, they weren't with us the whole time. So, no, I'm not doing that. If they want to come and in midterm show up and vote for, a Trump agenda, good vote. We can turn them down. No, don't vote for us. Vote for the Democrats. I'm not doing that. No way. I'm a spreadsheets guy. All I care about is what wins net present value +1. That's it. I don't give a shit about moral victories. Third, ladies and gentlemen, it's Axios piece. The future of warfare, man, is here right now. The last year was an eye-opening experience. I had been out of the federal government, law enforcement, intel, protection space for a long time. It was a decade. Going back in, I was shocked seeing it from the other side, how far advanced both, not just ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance technology, but how law enforcement technology, signals interception, human SIGINT, how far along this had developed. It was like a crash course on all of it, and I couldn't believe it. The future of warfare, because a lot of these tools have civilian uses too. The future of warfare is here now. Put up that Axios piece if you would, guys. It is here right now. You guys having trouble with that Axios piece? America's new war machine showcased in Iran war. Colin Damaris. Axios, pretty left-leaning outlet, but it's a really good piece. It talks about some critical developments we're now seeing in theater. It's one thing to say, hey, the United States, listen, we've got this great drone infrastructure and we've got these new missile targeting machines and AI integrated weapons. Folks, if they don't work in combat, as China's learning right now, nobody gives a shit. It's useless. It's a piece of tin. Here is a friend of mine, Carl Higby. He works over at Newsmax. A great guy, warrior himself, military experience out the wazoo. Good guy, good friend. Here he was on Newsmax last night, or midnight 4, either one. But he's talking about the U.S. military's technological advantage, how the technological advantage, as China's finding out, doesn't matter unless you can showcase it in theater, in action, where the variables sometimes are unpredictable, and how the effect of this is going to last years, maybe even decades, as warfighters and technology gets invaluable battlefield experience. Folks, you cannot replicate in a training exercise. Just quick before you play this, guys. Were any of you guys in the military at all? I didn't ask you, Randy. No? Okay. I was in the military. But having been in law enforcement as a law enforcement instructor in our academy, people would bring equipment all the time. And then you go out and you do what's called AOPs, assault on principle exercises, where we would go out in the Secret Service, right? And we would say, hey, you pretend to be President Bush or whatever, and there's going to be an assault and we're all going to do our thing or whatever. It's never the same as real gunfire. Obviously, they're shooting blanks. They're not shooting real weapons. When people are shooting blanks, you act different than if real, 7.62 rounds are whizzing by your head. There is nothing like theater for, I can't replicate the war experience. I was not in the military. I can only tell you from the law enforcement side. You got to test things live time. Here's Higby on exactly this. It's a great piece. Check this out.
Now, the combat testing alone in this conflict and the immediate battlefield feedback we're getting from this campaign, it's worth the entire budget of the Pentagon. The aerial experience from this operation sets us like light years ahead of any other country's military. An experience saves lives in the future. And this experience is financially cheaper than most training scenarios, by the way.
Okay, that's absolutely right. I mean, I was going to mention that the other day, that Donald Trump has rebuilt the military, okay? We have a stockpile of munitions and things of that nature. Okay, I mean, this is serving a dual purpose. One, it's not like we're having to run out and buy this stuff from whoever the arms manufacturers are for the federal government. It's already sitting there, just waiting. So you might as well go ahead and use it up. And number two, I mean, this is actually costs less doing this than some kind of training exercise where you just waste it. At least we're getting some productivity out of the arms that we are using. So I'm glad he brought that up. Okay, let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dan Bongino, the Dan Bongino Show. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. And I will include this video in my daily news wrap-up so you can see the rest of it because it's jam-packed worth of great information. Okay, jumping back here, let's see what Dr. Steve Turley has to say about Jasmine Crockett humiliated as Republicans surge in Texas voting. And there's one other thing that, before we move on, I guess Kristi Noem is no longer the Secretary of DHS. That's something that happened today. I've got a couple of videos on that I'm going to share in my daily news wrap-up, so be sure to hang around for that. But in the meantime, let's see what Dr. Steve Turley has to say about poor Ms. Jasmine Crockett. Poor thing.
Just happened in deep red Texas, and it's not what the Democrats or the legacy media were prepared for. The radical socialists that they were grooming as the next squad star just got humiliated at the ballot box. Establishment Republicans were shaken to their core, and MAGA-style populism is quietly, steadily rewriting the political map in the Lone Star State. Gang, what went down in Texas last night is nothing short of a political earthquake, and it's sending shockwaves through both parties from Austin to D.C. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. In the highest profile Democrat Senate primary in the country, the media's darling, the radical leftist Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, the one who made a name for herself screaming at Republicans in House hearings, just got taken out by a relatively unknown state James Tallarico. Couldn't just squeak by. He shocked the entire Democrat apparatus in Texas. He ran on the nice spoken seminary train to Crockett's combative ghetto girl persona, and Democrat voters went with Tallarico. At least the white Democrat voters, as expected. Crockett won upwards of, in the super 90 percentiles of black voters, the vast majority non-white voters. But Tallarico got massive margins with white voters in Travis County, that's where Austin is, and Williamson, all the rural counties. They gave him the margins he needed to overcome Crockett's leads in places like Dallas County. And needless to say, Jasmine is big upset. She's mad. She's having a bit of a meltdown over this.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why. So I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow. So I love y'all too.
What sad little idiots. Oh, we love you. We love you. So according to Ghetto Girl, the Republicans rigged the Democrat primary. We love the woman who just stood up there and said that the Republicans rigged her. She's running against another Democrat, but it's the Republicans who rigged the election. I mean, I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss that kind of borderline illiteracy that so perfectly represents the brain drain of the Democrat Party. But that said, Tallarico will provide plenty of entertainment given how woke and far left he is. I don't think the Republicans are going to have a very hard time making mincemeat out of this.
Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day.
Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
Yeah, good luck selling that in Texas. I mean, Ghetto Girl would have been a lot more fun, but good luck with that. Good luck convincing a majority of Texans to vote for the guy who says we should put a welcome mat out on the southern border. I mean, good luck. Good luck getting border counties to vote for you saying that. Now, in terms of who will be his opponent, Republicans in Texas had a bit of their own civil war last night. The populists made some pretty good moves. First, of course, is the blockbuster Senate primary on the GOP side, four-term Senator John Cornyn versus grassroots back, but unfortunately a bit scandal-plagued Ken Paxton, over $120 million in ad spending. Neither one could crack 50%. So now we're headed to a runoff that might be the most explosive Republican showdown in the country. Cornyn slightly edged out Paxton in the first round last night, shocking a lot of pollsters who had him trailing, some even by double digits. But runoffs are MAGA territory, so lower turnout, more ideological voters, a lot of fired up Paxton loyalists who see this as a referendum, the old Bush era neocon GOP. Remember, Bush is from the Bush family. Well, Bush family is originally from Maine, but came on down to Texas. So originally from New England and came down to Texas. So anyway, the establishment survived the first punch here, but the second round is where populists do tend to hit back the hardest. We will see if Trump endorses. That will be very, very interesting. Does he want to play it safe and endorse Cornyn, or is he like, look, there's, Texas is a Trump plus 14 state. Let's go. The Republican is going to win. And so why not go with the kind of Republican that always be on your side, like Paxton? Then there were the House races, where the old guard really got crushed. I mean, the biggest prize of the night was Dan Crenshaw. Oh, good old eye patch McCain, the incessant critic of MAGA and the populist base. He is gone. He lost his primary decisively to conservative state representative Steve Toth. Toth ran unapologetically to Crenshaw's right. I mean, he is your perfect quintessential Texas representative. He lined up with Trump-aligned figures. He hammered Crenshaw for his constant lectures against the MAGA grassroots. And Republicans did not disappoint. They showed up and they showed Crenshaw the door. Yeah, it's not just a local race. That's the MAGA base sending a very clear message to every managed opposition Republican in the country. Your time is up. I mean, unless you've got, $80 million like Cornyn to spend, we're going to take you out. So we're seeing longtime incumbents all across the ballot in Texas either losing outright or being thrown into career-threatening runoffs. But big money came in heavy at the last minute. Trump and Governor Abbott endorsed different candidates in some races, and the result was a bit of chaos for the political class. The old assumption was that Texas primaries were just sleepy coronations for whoever the donors back. That's gone. That's not happening anymore. This is now a live battlefield where insurgent populists can knock off a Crenshaw or drag a Cornyn into a runoff, even with tens of millions of dollars in establishment spending against them. But the big question of the night is, of course, are we seeing evidence of a blue wave? Are we seeing the midterms moving solidly in the direction of the Democrats? That's exactly what we're about to find out. But first,
okay, let me get past this commercial here.
Mark moveness from last night. Been a long-time client of Block Trust. I love them. I know you will too. Click on that link below right now. Here's one of my favorite pictures that came out from last night. Accepting applications for the Quality Layering Center. That's old man Al Green's there too, who he appears to have lost his seat last night as well. I don't know if it's official yet, but it looks like he's gone as well. So leading up to these primaries, the legacy media spent weeks breathlessly hyping a supposed Democrat blue wave in Texas because early voting numbers for Democrats looked so strong. They told us this was proof that Texans were turning on Trump, that the Iran war and the border shutdown were going to flip the state, and the Democrats were energized like never before. But when the dust settled, what actually happened? Well, yes, Democrats turned out. Data shows Democrats outpaced Republicans in early voting by significant margins. Over 1 million Democrats voted early. That is 12% higher than Republican early turnout. Democrat participation far outpaced 2022 and 2024 presidential primary levels. And we've been seeing some analysts say that that's not good news for the Republicans. Republicans are in a heap of trouble. Democrats are fired up and Republicans are just hemming and hawing. You see, Trump is losing his base, right? There's a couple of things here, though. Again, first and foremost, there was a very high-profile Democrat primary, right? That number one. I mean, Steve Colbert got involved with it and all that sort of stuff. Number two, there appears that a number of Republicans crossed over and voted, most likely for Jasmine in the Democrat primary. You can do that. But finally, as it turns out, when all the votes were counted, the GOP turned out was a higher turnout for the GOP than 2022 and 2024. And despite all the publicity around the Democrat primary, the Stephen Colbert hoax and all that, the Democrats in the end only managed to amass 30,000 more votes than the GOP, which, given the size of Texas, means nothing. It is statistically irrelevant. And the principal reason for that irrelevancy is that in Texas, primary turnout tends to be a very small, unrepresentative slice of the electorate compared to the general. And strong primary numbers for one party often do not translate into general election victories. So the basic pattern is that primaries usually draw about 20% of registered voters statewide, often closer to 10 to 15%, while general elections routinely draw 40 to 60% of registered voters, depending on whether it's a midterm or presidential year. For example,
I'm glad you brought that up because I was looking at those numbers, and for the Republican primary for the senator, there was actually less than 2 million votes cast, but for the Democrat primary, there was like 2.2 million votes cast. And I'm thinking, okay, if there's that many Democrats out there that's interested in this, and that few Republicans that's interested in this, what's going to happen during the general election? But I'm glad he brought that up, and that's why I wanted to share this. So I just had to jump in there while it was on my mind.
In 2018, about 52.6% of registered Texans voted in the general versus roughly the low perfectly common Democrats to, quote, win the primary turnout and still lose the. And for example, in 2008 and 2020, Democrat presidential primaries in Texas drew more voters than the GOP primaries. Yet, Republicans went on to carry the state in the general handily both years. And so at least when it comes to Texas, primary turnouts are a poor predictor of general election outcomes because primaries mobilize the most ideologically committed voters, while generals bring in a much broader, much more moderate electorate, which in Texas is overwhelmingly Republican. It's a Trump plus 14 state. So given that the GOP came within 30,000 votes of the Democrats' all-time high primary turnout, that doesn't bode at all very well for the Democrats in the general. So we'll obviously be keeping our eyes on how things play out for the Republican Senate runoff. But until then, Democrats still have yet to find any real hope for a blue wave. And I don't think any hope will come.
All right, there you have it, folks. I certainly hope he's correct. I definitely agree with his philosophy there. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Dr. Steve Turley. I am following his channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Alrighty then, let's jump back here. And yeah, I was doing a little chatting here with Debbie BS and Susie Poll 2016 and M41 Coco. All right, folks, if I could get some more people out there chatting in the live chat, that would be fantastic. But in the meantime, let's see what Dave Rubin has to say on the Rubin Report. New data proves experts were wrong about the feared ingredient. Dr. Mike Israetel. Now, I want to share this, and of course, I've been around for a while. I've got a few stories, but let's go ahead and see what Dave Rubin and the doctor have to say.
High fructose corn syrup in every comprehensive review seems to have roughly the same health effects on you as regular sugar, as natural sugar. So the idea that high fructose corn syrup is itself somehow obesogenic or health deleterious is just straight up a non-starter. It's just wrong. And so the high fructose corn syrup thing is a myth.
All right, so let's continue with the food portion before we get back to the fitness portion,
Sure,
because that's super interesting.
Huge
to
part of
me,
fitness.
and you're welcome to look in my fridge right now, and it's basically all organic. So I guess I'm throwing Whole Foods an awful lot of money over there.
Nonsense. It's cheap.
Yeah, whole paycheck food. That's what they call it, yeah. But all right, sticking with the food side of it, can you give me one more example of something that maybe we're all missing on the food side, nutritionally or otherwise, that is a sort of common thought that we all think we're doing right, that we're doing wrong?
Common thought.
In terms of how we eat or what we're eating, or
perfectionism. So people will see you eat like one candy bar, and they're like, "Is that like poison?" And you're like, "Do you really talk like that? Or are you just from the valley?"
only on Instagram.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that if most of your food is really like high quality food, lean proteins, veggies, fruits, whole grains, healthy fats, some of the shit you probably have in your fridge, if you eat mostly like that, and like on Friday nights or whatever, you go out with your friends, you have some just nonsense shit at a steakhouse, dude, you're totally golden. People have the perfectionist mindset, and they think in terms of morality versus causality. They think good, bad. Like there are good foods. That means I'm on the side of the angels. I voted for all the right candidates even. And then there's bad foods like the degenerates eat, and they're made of literal poison. And like you can have McDonald's a few times a week, and in the context of a calorie controlled diet, who's eating McDonald's here in the crew?
We're on a real fitness thing over here, but this guy, we won't say his name on air.
No.
Suddenly, I'm getting a lot of pictures of McDonald's lately.
He just sends it to you to troll you.
Yeah.
Look what I'm eating.
But you're telling him it's okay.
If he's not eating an excessive calorie load of McDonald's multiple times a week, enough that his body fat starts to get higher. I don't know if this is true. He's looking a little thick. Yeah. Where's that? Yeah. Pull that sweater down a little bit. Let's see that. As long as he's not gaining weight from it, and it's not so much processed food that his blood work is bad, McDonald's a few times a week, chips, soda, etc. a few times a week is absolutely fine. The problem with extremism is it becomes radically unsustainable. So if you tell yourself, I'm a good person, I don't eat bad foods, you tend to do this thing where you get on the wagon, fall off the wagon. Because as soon as like you eat the bad food at a party because you've had a few drinks, which you also know you're not supposed to be having, and a few drinks every now and again is also totally fine. People are like, they do that fuck it all kind of mentality. Where they're like, wow, in for a penny, in for a pound. And then you just go like weeks of like eating total crap. And then like, I got to clean up my life. They'll do a cleanse or some other stupid bullshit that doesn't work. Right. And then the cycle repeats itself. I'm sure you've been around some folks that have done that their entire lives.
Well, how much of that do you think is just how people are wired mentally? That some people are able to just kind of stay on a certain level. Like I've been eating very, very clean for the last 2 years, but I have no problem going to dinner on a Friday night. And then, I'm not eating like a ton of fries and all this fried stuff, but I will drink and I'll eat some whatever. Like I'm just not wired that I'm suddenly going to like go crazy. You know what I mean? So then I feel fine, but I feel like other people, somebody is just wired to, oh, I had one crazy night. Next thing you know, it's 3 weeks later. And
the
bender.
I don't even
And
remember
that could be
anything.
alcohol or food or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just sort of psychological.
It's psychological. There is like a spectrum of how people deal with it. On one end of the spectrum are people called the moderators. They can have a candy bar within their day and be totally fine. On the other end are the abstainers. Like it's either on or off for them, and they do really well with that. You can and should be an abstainer if that's just your psychology, but only your internal psychology and preference should guide that, not a misunderstanding of physiology. Like, well, these are bad foods. Like, nah, that's not how that works. It's all accumulation over time, and your body is incredibly robust. So if you give it like literal poison every now and again, not enough to kill you, it's totally good, man. You're totally fine. And so people have this kind of inbuilt extremism where they think everyone should be an abstainer, and that's not true. Another quick one, because it's on the subject, is diet soda and artificial sweeteners. So like the vast majority of people, if you poll them, know, they don't think, they know diet soda is bad for you. And literally will say, just drink regular soda. Why not just drink regular soda? In science, as a whole field, for sure nutritional science, if you were to rest your hat on anything, hang your hat on anything that was like rock solid, it would be the idea that what are called non-nutritive sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, etc., are the safest food additives ever tested, straight up. And more testing has gone to sucralose than has gone into the vast majority of chemicals that you eat in natural foods. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any Latin American ancestry?
I don't think so.
I did have an assistant.
But I'm here in Miami. There's a lot of Cubans. Does that help?
That does. It's by proximity.
Okay.
Do you eat avocado?
Eat a lot of avocado.
Okay, so avocado is like a new world food. They didn't have it in Eastern Europe when you and I evolved.
Right.
Jewish evolution, whatever that looks like, that page of the book. There are like hundreds of chemicals in avocados. And Dave, you have absolutely no idea if some of those do not interact with Ashkenazi Jewish anatomy and physiology very well. There could be some kind of weird epigenetic thing where it's slowly killing you and you have no idea. But we know almost certainly that does not happen with sucralose, because sucralose has been tested into the ground. But I await comprehensive testing of every single ingredient in avocados, for example. But nobody gives a shit. You go to Whole Foods, you're like, avocados, they're natural. Look how fucking green they are. Of course they're good for me. But they're like, oh, so here's the funny thing. Whole Foods is great. I love Whole Foods, right? They don't carry any regular brand diet sodas or sodas at all, because their customer base, if they saw like Coke Zero, which is inert for your health, it doesn't do anything good for your health or bad for you. You can have as much Coke Zero as you want, as long as the caffeine doesn't drive you insane. It's totally fine. But their customer base knows
Coke's
bad for
so
you.
they can just have the off-brand.
Artificial sweetener bad. But so they'll have the other artificial, they'll have monk fruit, stevia, I don't know how you say that. Because they're natural. That is the naturalistic fallacy back again. And so if you want to drink diet soda, and especially if you drink the caffeine-free stuff, because, not to screw up your circadian rhythms or whatever, you can have as much of it as you want, and you're going to be 100% fine. That statement I just made, that was a controversial statement. When we make reels out of this, people will bitch in the comments, the whole thing.
Now, I assume you would not make the same argument for non-diet soda with the amount of sugar.
Non-diet soda, with that amount of sugar,
high fructose corn syrup,
high fructose corn syrup in every comprehensive review seems to have roughly the same health effects on you as regular sugar, as natural sugar. So the idea that high fructose corn syrup is itself somehow obesogenic or health deleterious is just straight up a non-starter. It's just wrong. And so the high fructose corn syrup thing is a myth. Now, how does soda get you in trouble? If you eat normal healthy foods, and like a can of Coke has like 40 grams of carbohydrate, 40 grams of pure sugar. If you have to have 220 grams of carbs for the day to get your macros going, and use the RP Diet app, you're welcome. There's the plug. I've done my corporate duty. Good job, Mike. You have 220 grams of carbs you need to eat per day. You're at 180. And you've allotted so that during dinner, you can have a Coca-Cola Classic, like they did in those 50s ads. There's absolutely not a damn thing wrong with that. You will pay zero health downsides. You can have
even on the sugar side, aside the carbs.
Oh yeah. You can have tons of sugar as long as the rest of your diet is healthy. You're getting plenty of protein, you're getting enough fiber, getting enough micronutrients. If your diet is all Coca-Colas for carbs, you're not getting any vitamins and minerals really, because those come from veggies, fruits, whole grains. So if you're having enough of those and you want a Coke every now and again, there's nothing poisonous about sugar at all. The way you get in trouble with Coca-Cola is this, not Coca-Cola specifically, every single soda that's not diet. Its ratio of how many calories it brings to how tasty it is to how not filling it is a giant travesty. So no one's ever like, can you imagine, like, so you're on a plane, like the stewardess is coming around giving you snacks and sodas, and you drink a Coca-Cola, and then they come up with the snacks later, because this drinks first, snacks after. Can you imagine how nonsensical of a statement it would be if she was like, do you want cookies or nuts? You were like, oh, I just had that Coke and I got full. She'd be like, what? Doesn't make any sense. Everyone pretty much intuitively understands that sugar in a sweetened beverage is like calories that basically don't fill you up at all, and they're delicious. You're not gonna have one Coke, you're just gonna keep sipping them all night long. That's how you get in trouble with soda, because it's a ton of extra calories that adds to your day. The reason soda does such havoc to the American health on aggregate is because a lot of people will consume not so great diet to begin with. They're sure shit not counting their calories, and every drink will be soda. And then their caloric excess, instead of being like 500 extra calories per day, is like 1,000 or 1,500. They gain pounds every week. They get obese. They're also inactive. And then it's all just super down the drain. So there's nothing specifically wrong about soda or sugar, period, unless it is used to generate a caloric surplus, an excess of calories that lasts long enough for you to gain substantial weight. And then it's really bad news. So one of the things I say, probably nobody, almost no one, should be drinking regular soda. Just drink diet. Diet soda is amazing. It's a miracle. It's a miracle of engineering.
Wow. Okay. Great information there. And, I guess the bottom line to the story is, you can go to the extreme with anything, even, baked potatoes or whatever, or steak or whatever. But, I drink Diet Mountain Dew. Okay. That's what I drink. Next time you're in the store or you have a can of Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, I used to carry a can around a lot. I mean, that would be what I would drink. I could probably go through like 4 or 5 cans a day at work. I had a small refrigerator in my cubicle, and I'd keep it stocked with Diet Mountain Dew. That's what I'd drink, okay? Water and Diet Mountain Dew. And it took it into the doctor's office once and the doctor's assistant, nurse, whatever, practitioner, what are you drinking that for? And I said, it's Diet Mountain Dew. What's wrong with that? What's it? It's a soft drink. And I said, well, look in the ingredients. Just check out a can of Mountain Dew or Diet Mountain Dew. The second ingredient in Diet Mountain Dew is concentrated orange juice. The first is carbonated water. The second is concentrated orange juice. Now, of course, it's got all that other shit that goes into soft drinks as well. But, the nurse wasn't impressed that concentrated orange juice was the second ingredient in Diet Mountain Dew. But anyway, getting back to another story that I was going to tell. Back in the 80s, it seemed like every other week, one week, butter was going to kill you. You shouldn't eat butter, you should eat margarine. Then the next week, margarine will kill you. Shouldn't eat margarine, you should eat butter. So what my wife and I did was we'd buy a pound of margarine, a pound of butter, and we'd mix it together. That way, we'd get both ends of it. Either, one end had to be okay, and if the other end wasn't, then, we would just to flip a coin on that. But at any rate, let me go ahead and click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from the Rubin report, Dave Rubin. I thought that was interesting information that I wanted to share with you. And, I believe he's right. That, that things like that, if you have a beer, glass of wine, whatever, as long as you don't overdo it. If you go out and have a Big Mac or a fillet of fish or go to Burger King and have a Whopper, that's fine. Do it with some fries or onion rings or whatever. Just don't overdo it. Okay? I wholeheartedly agree with that. All right? And my dad lived to be 94 years old, 93 years old, and he didn't much care about what the hell he ate. He wasn't a health food nut. All right. Okay, so let me jump back over here and let's see what Wendy Bell has to say on Congress is Epstein Island. Makes sense to me. Let's check it out.
So I had to go yesterday to the AAA Motor Center headquarters, whatever, in my neighborhood. So this is where you go if you needed triptychs. You guys remember the old triptychs? I remember those, where they'd put construction and speed traps and your mom would like leaf through it and dad was driving and they'd be arguing. Oh, maybe that was just my life, right? But you go there now, you get your real ID renewed, your driver's license, all of this jazz. And my birthday's coming up next month. And right before I turn 56, it expires. In fact, it's on my birthday. And so I had to go and do a renewal. Yesterday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the AAA Center in East Liberty. And you know what? I don't shout out local people in my community because this is a national program. But I want to tell you that everything happening inside of that little facility, the people who work there, completely defies the narrative that the mainstream media is desperate every single day with every newspaper they print and every newscast at night to tell you the story of how much America hates itself. How much we hate each other, judge each other, fight each other, blah, blah, blah. That's not the story. Don't pick that up. And I have the proof of it. So this little AAA center is just a couple miles from my house. So I swung by on my way after work. And I went in there and I had all my paperwork. It's not that complicated. And everybody who works there is black. Everybody who works there is pleasant. Everybody who works there that I came across is helpful and positive and friendly and all of this. And they always have been. I've lived here for 20 odd years, almost 30 years, Pittsburgh. This one little place, I don't know what the secret sauce is. Immediately, the woman at the reception desk, Wendy Bell, I haven't seen you in forever. How you been? Right? Go to pay my whatever. Wendy, it's so great to see you. How are you? What are you doing these days? I sit down waiting for my call to go take my picture, which always looks stupid, but whatever. And there's nobody else there. And a gentleman sits down next to me, literally right next to me. I look around and I'm like, there are 45 other chairs here. This gentleman sat right next to me. Black guy. He's wearing a ski cap, work clothes, work boots, pleasant man, salt and pepper beard. You're the news lady. You're the news anchor, aren't you? I said, I am. Hi, I'm Wendy. What's your name? My name is Sydney. Hi, Sydney. It's great to meet you. We sit there and it's a little awkward, right? Well, he said, I'm thinking about getting out of Pittsburgh. I'm kind of had it with the snow and the politics here. Buy me a place in North Carolina. I said, really? That's awesome. He's like, it's flat. Just a piece of property. I'm going to clear the trees myself. I'm going to save the money. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me one of those real nice double wides. And I was like, yeah, I hear some. Those are really nice. He's like, you been inside one of those? He says, it's perfect. It's got a bedroom, got a bathroom, got a nice kitchen, good space for all my stuff. I said, well, are you alone or do you live alone? Are you married? And he said, you remember that accident on Route 51? 2019. I didn't. I looked at him in the eyes and he looked me square in the eyes. That was my daughter. She got killed in a head-on crash. It's not been the same since. I'm ready to get out of here, I think. Oh my gosh, what do you say to that? I'm like, I can imagine so. He said, you know, she just had 2 babies, twins. They were 9 months old when my daughter died. And I've been working to raise them with my son-in-law, doing the best I can. I can't even imagine. What do you say to that? All I did is look in his eyes. Absolutely amazed. He went on to tell me about this new property he was going to buy in North Carolina, how he's going to put this thing on it, and he's going to have enough space for the boys to come down. He says, you know what I call them? Their names, the twins, migraine and headache. And I'm like, I love you. And he proceeded to tell me, literally, I'm waiting for the woman to call me, Wendy, to take my picture for my real ID, but nobody calls me. There's nobody else doing anything, right? It's like the world stopped in this weird vacuum. And it's Sydney and me. And he's like, you know what? I'm one of 17 kids. I'm like, what? 17 kids. He said, yep, I'm right in the middle. 8 brothers, 8 sisters. I'm number 9. I'm like, what? He starts telling me all this stuff. Why? I have no idea. What do you say to that? Woman calls my name. Miss Bell? I get up and I said to him, sir, it's a pleasure to meet you. Holy cow. You sound like a magical individual, and I wish you only the very best on that beautiful new property. You have fun in that double wide, you hear? And he said, I've always appreciated you. And I went to go take my picture. What was that? What was that? I don't know. You ever stop every now and again? Just kind of feel the vibe of the people around you? Because they're not how the media tell us. They're not what the world says they are. And you know what? I tend to like the ones that look the least like me. I'm interested in them. I don't know. Do I send that out as a vibe? I don't know. But I carried Sydney with me all night long. I went home, started making dinner. I'm thinking about Sydney, a man with 16 brothers and sisters. Why did that man come into my life? You know, later this month is the 10th anniversary of me leaving a television job because I was accused of being a racist. It's been a wild ride to watch the world, to watch cancel culture in that decade, to see the news and to see the media fall apart, to watch politics more clearly with COVID and whatnot. But it made me angry, my experience yesterday at that AAA motorist center in my community. Those were all Black people. None of them had a problem with me, and none of them did 10 years ago. We don't look at each other through weird eyes like that. Some people do, but they're fringe, they're outliers, and we don't give them a lot of oxygen. But you know what our societies are? It's good people. People would help you if they could and would if you asked. People who want to pitch in. People who love their sons and daughters. People who go through the same crap that you and I do. People who struggle. And sometimes people who just want somebody to talk to. Sydney, I know you don't know I do this for a living now, sir. But I'm going to talk directly to you because I can. Thank you. Thank you. It seems like whenever you have something on your heart, something going on in your mind, if you settle it down a little bit, you'll always find somebody else who's paddling upstream a little bit harder than you are. That is the story of America, the kindest, most gentle, most giving, generous, faithful, loyal, hardworking, innovative, creative, outside the box thinkers. And if you ever have an occasion to go back and read the founding documents, you'll hear the voice and the brains of men who were so smart. It's no wonder America is such a beautiful place. So today, as we march through the rigmarole of Capitol Hill behaving like the clown car it is, the circus, I'm going to think about Sydney today and hope he's ever closer, day by day, to realizing that dream. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, do you guys feel the news vacuum? It's like there's this weird thing in the air and it sucked out everything again. Okay, what's coming? I don't know, but a new poll suggesting who the Republicans should get behind in this Texas Senate race. Oh boy, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move that forward past her commercial break, but let me share some information here from MeWe.
Ever feel like the phone is eavesdropping? That's because big tech treats every user's life like a corporate paycheck.
It's time to stop being the product. Millions are making the move to MeWe, the place where private connections and online communities actually thrive.
On MeWe, privacy is a human right, not a hidden setting. They don't track users, they don't sell personal data, and they truly believe in free speech. No shadow bans, just real conversations.
Join the 21 million people taking their digital lives back. Use code WELCOME2026 at checkout to grab 20% off MeWe Premium.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Can I just say that I feel horribly for the Guthrie family. I do. I know nothing about these people, but I know it's been like 5 weeks. They still haven't found missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. The story took 4 weeks of our attention. Well, if you were paying attention. And I did. I popped in and out. And we've got no resolution. It almost makes me feel as though that was placed there before us to keep us busy, to keep us doing something so something else could be happening. I hate feeling like that. Do you guys ever get suspicious like that? I do. Literally, Brock and I woke up this morning and we're on the computer talking to each other from our respective living rooms or what have you. And I'm like, there's nothing going on. He's like, it's wild. Something's brewing. And I agree. So as we all kind of wonder what the bomb is going to be that drops, and so help us God, let it not be one of those. It's interesting that just like that, poof, we've got this critical decision by the President of the United States. And quite frankly, conservatives are paying very close attention to this. This is the Texas Senate primary, Republican primary runoff. As you know, neither James or John Cornyn, the rhino incumbent, right, who is an anti-Trumper, who always said Trump cannot win, whatever, all this jazz. It's him against clear, make America great again, America first again, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And I'm in this weird position right now. We're going to talk about it coming up after the break, because I think that there's some kind of a negotiation on that you and I aren't privy to, and it pisses me off. We know who we want. With Wesley Hunt out of it, I don't see how Ken Paxton cannot win. Unless there's some sneaky, snaky, deep state establishment sucky deal being maneuvered behind the scenes. And when I read this from Newsweek today, I was like, okay, I get a vibe. Let's see if you guys are tracking the same vibe. Here it is from Newsweek. Headline. Remember, they tell you what they want you to know. Polls tell you what they want you to believe, so that when something happens, you're more amenable to that outcome, right? It's not like a what? Here's the headline, Newsweek. James Tallarico's chances of beating John Cornyn versus Ken Paxton. So this Tallarico guy is scary as stones. He, I guess, fancies himself some prophet or some, I don't know, pastor. And he talks about the right of transgender men to have abortions. And you're like, dude, that's called bat crap crazy because men don't have uteruses. But other than that, I'm sure he's swell. Whom do you believe Newsweek wants you to think would be the logical person to beat James Tallarico? That's not what this article is telling us, but they're projecting it for us right now. You ready? Texas Republicans may face a competitive race in the 2026 Senate election in November against Democratic State Representative James Tallarico, who secured his party's nomination on Tuesday, according to polls. Okay, so they want you to believe that this Democrat rep from Texas is now going to be the guy who's going to take over, and he's going to beat John Cornyn or whomever the Republican candidate for Senate ends up being. While Tallarico received enough votes to avoid a runoff against Representative Jasmine Crockett, no duh, right? Republicans will again face off in a runoff in May, as no candidate received 50% of the vote. Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who challenged him from the right, advanced to the runoff. Why does this stuff never really, it doesn't seem to happen all that much on the left. It's like they choose who they're going to have. They've got it all scheduled out. This is how it's going to be. Your vote never matters, of course, because they've already got it all figured out. See, that's the crap that America wants to stop. Right there, full stop. I don't have to tell you about this poll because they're trying to tell you that it's actually, let me read this. The question of electability will loom over that GOP runoff. Some Republicans are concerned that Ken Paxton, who leads many early polls on the runoff, would be a weaker general election candidate than Cornyn, who is well known among Texas voters and has easily won re-election in the past. He's a freaking deep state hack rhino. That's why Newsweek is all in Cornyn's basket. All of their eggs, all of it in Cornyn's basket. Why? Because it's about the deep state. It's about not upsetting the cart. It's about status quo. It's about business as usual. It's about protecting their own asses. Why else would the House vote down a measure, a resolution, which everybody who's not a sexual predator should get behind, that merely said, hey, we need to flush out who these people are, elected representatives who are accused, whether credibly or not, of sexual misconduct. There should not be a veil of secrecy. And you know the ones who voted that down? These are the same jags who were out there banging on the Epstein files doors, the ones demanding Pam Bondi's head, the ones who say, believe all victims. But when it comes to credible victims, against their own cronies, their own pals and buddies, well, now that's a bridge too far. We're not going to go that far. I mean, that's a little crazy. Don't make us do that. So what do we have here? We have a vacuum of news. We have a war in Iran. We have Vladimir Zelensky now sending like Ukrainian intelligence experts to the region where this Operation Epic Fury is being waged to help the offensive, to basically saddle up next to President Trump, obviously, yes? But nevertheless, supporting the effort to eliminate all the whack jobs in Iran who want to kill us. And you need to know that the smart move, according to Newsweek, is for John Cornyn to be the one. Which means decidedly that's the opposite of what we need to do. So let's talk about it. What does the president say? Is Ken Paxton going to drop out if the president endorses Cornyn? It's almost like days of our lives, like sand through the hourglass. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there with this sands through the hourglass, and we'll watch that later in my daily news wrap-up. Let me click on the Rumble link here and show you that this video does come from Wendy Bell Radio. I am following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here and let's pay a little bit attention to the chats here. Now, we got a chat here from Tiff. 7799, and she for some reason was why so much Dan Bongino? Well, you know, she's a little bit disturbed with Dan Bongino. Go ahead and read the chat, folks. WBS kind of replied back to that, but let me go ahead first. I'll just go ahead and do this. I want to copy this information here from the live chat into a comment, so it will be a permanent part of this video. And folks, please, I need like 4 new people that hasn't chatted with me this month to give me a chat. Okay, that's all I need is 4 to meet my my actual requirements for my Rumble Studio. All right, boom, there we go. Now the live chats are permanent with this video. Dan Bongino. Right here in the description box, the videos that I've shared with you are in the description box. The links to the videos are also in the description box, as well as the links to the producer's channel. Let's just click on Dan Bongino, okay? There we have Dan Bongino Show. This takes us right to his channel, and I have links to all the other, like the Rubin Report and Wendy Bell and Dr. Steve Turley. But Dan Bongino. Now, I'm sure that there are a lot of people that don't care for Dan Bongino, but the video that I shared with you today has 670,000 views, okay? All right? his video from yesterday had 817,000 views. The one from the day before, 874,000 views. The one from Monday, 961,000 views. There's a lot of people that watch his show because he does have some good information. Yes, he can definitely go off and use a lot of street language when he gets upset about something. But, I don't. There are a lot of people that I don't share information on because, they just use the F word like a standard adjective for some reason. I don't know. F this and F that, and I don't give an F and whatever. Once in a while I let it slip. And Dan Bongino does a little bit more than I do. But I think for the most part he has good information, Tiff, and that's why I share it so much. I'm sorry if you don't care for Dan Bongino. Okay, the video that...
by the way.
The video that we saw today, at 12,500 thumbs up. Now, it did have 211 thumbs down. I gave him a thumbs up. Okay? So, I don't get 12,000 views, let alone 12,000 thumbs up. All right. But with that being said, again, folks, that's what I share. If other people would prefer not to see Dan Bongino, because since he's come back in the February the 5th, I've been sharing him like every show that he drops. I share part of that because, as I said, I think he has good stuff. All right, let me know what you think. Let me know in the chat. Please chat it up. I've got 38 people watching. Okay. So I only need 4 people that has not chatted with me this month that'll give me a chat. Just give me a thumbs up or a hi or whatever. I just need 4. Please help me out here because this will help get the information out to other people. The truth. Like I shared with you tonight. The stuff you're not going to hear on the mainstream media. All right. Now these videos that I've shared with you tonight are videos that I've posted here on Mertech.com. Where I have over 40 great, no-nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth videos, the kind of stuff that you're not going to get on the mainstream media. Now, I'd like to share all of this information with you, but unfortunately I don't have the time. In fact, I'm like 12 minutes over my normal 1-hour podcast. But I will share this information with you in my daily news wrap-up tonight. Right here, we're going to take off where we left off with Wendy Bell and with Dan Bongino. And as I said before, Kristi Noem, Trump replaces Kristi Noem as DHS Secretary in stunning move. That's from Devory Darkins and also from On the Fringe. War against the deep state continues. Talking about Noem gets tossed. Then we have some X-22 report information, McWater's effect, Black Conservative Perspective, Greg Hunter's USA Watchdog. I've got a great lineup for you tonight, folks. As soon as this live stream's over, this podcast, I'm going to rush and get that together within the next 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll get that going. So go ahead and take a break right now. Grab a cup of coffee and a donut, sandwich and a soft drink or a beer, or a nice glass of wine and some cheese. Take a break. Meet me back here in about 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll get this going. But in the meantime, I do want to thank you for being with me, for spending your time with me this evening. Hopefully, I'll get to see you again later, and may God bless.